From The Times and The Sunday Times, this is The Story. I'm Luke Jones. Death is coming. Happy New Year. But how much in 2026 could we possibly delay it?
We can treat aging. In fact, we can probably reverse aging in the next 5 to 10 years. And that's why aging should be considered a medical condition that's treatable.
In the last few years, longevity science has been trying to figure out why we age and what we can do to extend our lifespans. It has spawned an enormous global longevity industry worth an estimated $610 billion.
We are living in a world today where you can measure as 20 years younger than your calendar age.
You can't move for fitness influencers and biohackers now.
Here are 3 most important exercises for your longevity.
I would take like a tyrosine, take one of these, creatine, beta-alanine, makes your body tingle.
Not to mention the steady stream of studies claiming what will help us live longer.
Adults who drank coffee between 4 a.m. and noon were 16% less likely to die compared to those who didn't drink coffee.
But what is fact and what is wishful thinking? Today, we're going to look at the biggest longevity flops of 2025 and find out what questions we might get answers to in 2026. The story today, are we any closer to unlocking the secret to longevity?
I'm Peta Bee. I'm a health journalist. I've been writing about health and fitness for, about 30 years, and with the Times for about 25 years, actually, quite a long time. I've covered all sorts of different topics in that time, as you can imagine, from when gyms first came onto the scene. Personal trainers were very new when I started writing, so it's been quite a long and interesting ride.
When did you start to get the whiff that longevity was bang on trend?
To be honest, longevity has always been something that I've written about, but to become a trend, I think probably the last decade or so, has really ramped up, and definitely so in the last 5 years, with the rise in social media as well, of course, which has been one of the factors in fueling it.
Who are the big characters driving and championing this longevity agenda for good or ill?
There's a long list of these biohackers, as they're called themselves, and a lot of them just test all these different things. They do self-experimentation to try and delay the aging process. And many of them are millionaires as well, so they have billionaires. They have lots of money to spend on it. So one of the early ones is Tim Ferriss, who is author of The 4-Hour Body.
The 4-Hour Body is really meant to be a choose-your-own-adventure guide to the human body, a hacker's guide to improving every facet of your physical appearance and performance, whether that's ultra-endurance, superhuman strength, rapid fat loss, sleep, sex, you name it, it covers it all.
Then there's Dave Asprey, who calls himself the father of biohacking. He sort of invented, if you like, things like the bulletproof diet and bulletproof coffee, which is this coffee that you add fat to, which has since fallen out of favour. I mean, there are all these trends.
Is that the one where I see people putting like a slab of Lurpak in their morning black coffee?
Yeah, a little bit. It was sort of more oils and coconut oil and things like that.
I went to Tibet to learn meditation from the masters, and I was at 18,000 feet, and a little Tibetan woman gave me yak butter tea, and I drank it, and my brain worked in a way that made no sense. I came back to Silicon Valley, and I started hacking, and about 1,000 tests later, the right coffee beans, grass-fed butter, not normal butter, and something called brain octane oil. You blend it together, it tastes really good, but your brain turns on, and you have no sugar cravings.
There's also Brian Johnson, who is founder of the Don't Die movement. And he has a really extreme longevity regimen and spends billions on it. And he does things like intensive diets. He tries vegan diets, then he tries calorie-restricted diets and endless supplements and gene therapies, blood transfusions from his son in an effort to sort of delay aging. I mean, the aim with all of them is to try and find these little tweaks that will help them to achieve a younger biological age.
Right now is the very first time in human history where you can say with a straight face, you may not die.
You believe that?
Oh, there's no question.
But as yet, I mean, none of these has been proven. They might claim it has in their podcasts and posts, but nothing really. So they're sort of popularizing it and driving it, and people latch on to some of these things that they're suggesting.
Are there any trends in particular on this front that you have tried, enjoyed, recommend?
I don't know whether you'd call them trends, but sort of practices, I think. So things like intermittent fasting. So that has been shown to increase longevity. There's lots of studies on that. It's one of the few things that has been shown to add years to your life. So I do that, actually,
What do you do? What's your split? Because that's where you sort of don't eat for a chunk of the day, do eat for a chunk of the day.
Yes, that's intermittent fasting. I mean, some people do it in another way, and they do fasting sort of once a week, or they do fasting, for a week every month. There's all sorts of different ways of doing it. But the way I've always naturally eaten, actually, is not to have my breakfast until about 11, and then have my last meal at about 6 or 7 at night. It's since become called the 16-8, but some people naturally eat that way. So it's like an eating window that you create for yourself, restricting the amount of hours that you eat in a day. And of course, the effect is that it reduces the overall amount of calories that you eat in a day. So that has been shown in lots and lots of studies to extend your life.
And that works, as you've said. What about some flops? What have you written about? What have you tried in the past that is just an absolute...
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been going through that. There are certain things that even this year, I suppose, that I've been investigating. Celebrities have been doing this blood filtering to get rid of microplastics. And microplastics are these little particles that are everywhere. We can't escape them. They're sort of residues of things that we use these days, of plastics and materials and food wrappings. And there's no way we can eradicate them from the planet now. They're there. And of course, we want to try and produce less of them, because there is a thinking that they can be damaging to our health.
How does blood filtering actually work? I mean, if I were to give it a go, would I be taking a pill? Would I be hooking myself up to some sort of transfusion machine? What am I doing?
Well, if you're going to give it a go, you've got to be very rich to start with. So it's a 2-hour procedure in which your plasma in your blood is exchanged, basically. You go through this process. So you're hooked up to a machine. It costs £10,000 to do it. Your blood is extracted. The plasma in your blood is then cleansed of the range of chemicals. I mean, that these forever chemicals, microplastics and other chemicals that are found in there. And then it's put back into the body with the cleansed red blood cells. The NHS and medical doctors do use a similar approach for certain conditions such as leukemia, but experts are really, really skeptical about whether it works for removing these microplastics. And it might remove them for a while, but then you're exposed to them in the environment again. So you'd have to go through this procedure again for another £10,000. So there's no evidence really that in the long term it's helpful at all.
Expensive, if nothing else, if you're doing it regularly.
Yeah, not many of us could afford that. And then there are these IV drips and infusions of vitamins and minerals that, you go in and you hook yourself up. And
which there are some shops which are there for the purpose of this, which I've walked past before.
And I've tried this, and you go in and you have this intense dose of vitamins and minerals, whichever ones they sort of recommend for you. But I mean, anyone who's deficient in a vitamin or mineral, that is going to improve your health. And by default, you will live longer because your health's better. But if you're going in and you're in perfectly good health and you have these IV drips and infusions and you're hooked up, it's not going to improve your health. And in fact, it can be detrimental. There's an upper limit with a lot of them. So you can have, too much of these things. It's a bit of a con, that one. It's a bit of a fad.
Supplements are everywhere, it seems, at the moment. Do they actually make a difference? Should I be on any of them?
If you've got a deficiency, then yes, definitely, they will make a difference. But there are no individual supplements that yet have been shown to extend human lifespan in large clinical trials. There's a sort of a whole little brand of longevity supplements that people take now to sort of hope that they'll live longer. But there's not really any proof that any of these are going to extend our lives. A lot of the studies on them have been done in laboratory animals. So we're talking about things like NAD+, which is one of the popular ones. The biohackers love these. They make huge claims to extend your life, and they can be very expensive too. So people are spending a fortune on these things. I mean, there are some that will improve what we call the health span, or what's known as your health span. So that's the amount of your life that you're living healthily. So it won't make you live longer, but they will help you live healthily. So one of them is vitamin D. It sort of acts as a hormone in the body rather than a vitamin, really, and has all sorts of benefits for the aging process. The other is omega-3s, which are found in fish oils and seeds and things like that. And you can, of course, take them in supplement form. And that in some trials at Harvard University has been shown to slow our biological aging a little bit. So, and they also have anti-inflammatories in that. So they're beneficial to health as well.
How does vitamin D actually help the body? What is it actually doing?
Some scientists at Harvard University have suggested that vitamin D might be one of the things that's helpful in this preserving our telomere health. So telomeres are these bumpers at the end of our chromosomes that when we grow older, they shorten, and that's compounded by poor diet, smoking, inactivity, drinking too much, all the things we probably like doing, and that will accelerate cell aging. So we need to keep these telomeres healthy and to prevent them from shrinking. The UK government recommends we will take 10 micrograms of vitamin D every day during the winter months because it's obtained from sunshine and we don't get enough of it in the UK. And it's really difficult to get from food, actually. I mean, people say mushrooms are a source, but they're not really a very good source. So it's the one supplement that we should be taking at least in the winter months, if not all year round. I do take it all year round, actually. So there's plenty of benefits. This anti-aging effect is one that hasn't been 100% proven, but it is good for our health.
What about things like creatine? I go to the gym occasionally. People say, oh, we should be taking creatine. Should I?
Well, creatine's an interesting one because it's been around for decades and decades, but it's really come into its own this year. And there's been a few studies showing that it can help with slowing of cognitive decline and things like that, but they're not really convincing studies yet. So creatine's a compound that's naturally present in our liver, our kidneys, and our pancreas make their own creatine. And we can also get it from animal products like red meat and fish. For years, it's been used by athletes because it helps them recover more quickly. Some studies have shown that various doses of creatine might improve people's memory and attention and prevent cognitive decline, but it won't improve overall brain function. So, these are very small studies yet, and we don't really know too much about it. So it's not going to make you live longer, but it might, some people it might help, but it's definitely not got loads of evidence behind it.
What about actually in the gym itself? What has worked, what hasn't worked in the past in terms of what you should be doing exercise-wise to most help yourself as opposed to just trying to make yourself look hotter?
Yeah, well, exercise is hugely important. That's one thing that we know can make you live longer. It can add years to your life. And people are sort of obsessed about what type of exercise we should do, but really we should be more active. If you're more active, you take more daily steps, you just do more every single day, then you will live longer. There's so much evidence pointing in that direction. Everything from running to walking, to how many steps you do, to strength training that will improve the health of your muscles, which will improve your metabolism, and that can help you live longer. And then we've got the high intensity exercise, which I wrote a book about a few years ago with the late Dr. Michael Mosley, and that there's a lot of evidence on that as well, that if you do really intense brief periods of it, so you work really hard on a bike for a minute and then you have a rest and then you do another minute of really hard on a bike, that has been shown to sort of lower blood sugar levels. That is part of the process of helping you live longer, but you have to do that in conjunction with your aerobic exercise, so running, swimming, cycling, longer distances as well. So it's really getting a mix of all of these. No one single type of exercise is going to make you live longer. Yeah. It's getting a variety in.
Peter, you've been telling us how to live longer, essentially, after your many years talking about health and well-being. What have we learned about anti-aging? And when you think about the last year or so, I mean, what has sort of stood out for you, discovery-wise, of things that can help?
In terms of anti-aging, it comes down to the same old things, really. I'm sorry to be so dull about this, but it's eating well and exercising. I mean, these are the only ones that have been proven to defy aging. These are the things that we need to get right before we try anything else.
What are the things that have been studied, particularly this year, or we've learned this year about extra little things like that you can add to your diet or make part of your eating or drinking routine?
I mean, dark chocolate is one that always crops up, and we have to make sure that it's dark, so at least the 75% cocoa or 70% cocoa or more than that. It's been shown if you have 12 grams a day, that's just a couple of squares, you will end up having a 12% lower risk of dying early than non-chocolate eaters. Some studies have shown that. So it gives you an excuse to have a little bit of chocolate in your diet. Again, it's very rich in polyphenols and antioxidants. And coffee is another one that's really rich in these antioxidants. So, a couple of cups of coffee a day, not in excess, but that's been shown to also to have a positive effect. So things like that are great little habits that we can all adopt.
But what are the studies into the potential health benefits of, a glass of red wine a night? You mentioned polyphenols and antioxidants playing a role.
So polyphenols polyphenols are antioxidants, so they protect the cells from free radical damage. That is known. So, the more antioxidants we have in our diet, from fruit, from vegetables, nuts, seeds, all of these things contain antioxidants. They'll protect us against chronic diseases like cancer and heart disease. So we do need these things in our diet. Now, red wine is a source of one particular antioxidant called resveratrol, which is found in red grape seeds and red grape skin, and any sort of dark berry or grape or fruit will have resveratrol in it. It has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects that are linked to heart health and to anti-aging in lab studies. But again, the human studies have shown inconsistent results. And of course, red wine is a source of alcohol, which has an aging effect on the body. So, many anti-aging scientists have now abandoned studies on red wine being beneficial to or helpful to preventing aging because of this. So, there are other sources of resveratrol that are much better for us than having it in red wine, including grape juice. That doesn't have the alcohol in it, so we can get it in that. Peanuts is another one that's been studied recently. They've been shown this year actually to have to sort of be beneficial to anti-aging. It was a little a sort of trend a few years ago to think that a glass of red wine a day will help to make us live longer, but in fact it won't, unfortunately.
So have the peanuts from the bar, but nothing on the wall behind it, essentially.
Exactly, yes. It was interesting, this recent study at the University of Barcelona this year that showed a small handful of peanuts, the plain, unsalted ones, not the salty and honey roasted varieties, can actually help to slow down cellular aging in the body. So that's something that we can have. And again, it's down to the antioxidants that they contain. And also the fiber and vitamins and minerals in these things are helpful.
Off in the distance, is there anything that people are looking at or that is a question unanswered that you think actually that could be a game changer in the future, aside from my oily fish and my eating lots of veg and doing my 10,000 steps?
The fact of the GLP-1 agonists are going, there is some interest in that area in terms of the research. We're just waiting for it to develop, really. So
in terms of the other benefits of those weight loss jabs?
Yes, the other benefits. So people are talking about them. That a lot of the research journals are starting to get early studies looking at that. So there might be something in that. We just don't know yet. I think that's the thing. And a lot of these studies that are in, even the supplements that sort of stimulate enzymes in the body that are linked to anti-aging, that they're just such early studies that there might be something in them. We don't know. So we've got to wait and see that. So that's a really exciting area. I think, a lot of the biohackers go straight in and say, we should be doing this, we should be doing, and then years down the line, it's found out to be not much in it at all.
Thinking about the year ahead then, what are you most interested in? What are you most excited by? What are you going to be sniffing around? What are you maybe going to be pitching to the paper to sort of go and write big pieces about?
Well, collagen is one of the things.
Collagen?
Collagen, yeah. So this is it's a collagen supplement. It's a protein, again, found in many parts of the body naturally, in cartilage, bone, tendon, skin. There's a little bit of research a few years ago that found collagen is helpful to athletes or sporty people in terms of regenerating tendons and ligaments and cartilage if they've been injured. But apart from that, I mean, it's become one of these real anti-aging supplements. Again, it's everywhere on social media, and people are taking it because there are claims that it can boost nail, skin, and hair health, and it can make you look younger and also feel younger.
It is one of the latest celebrity trends. I mean, Kourtney Kardashian, Jennifer Gardner, Olivia Culpo, those are just a few who are huge promoters of collagen. It helps with anti-aging, beautiful skin, and weight loss.
But at the moment, there's not much evidence. So it'll be interesting to see how that one evolves because it's so popular. And interestingly, one of the people that I interviewed on this about whether it can repair cartilage in the body was Liverpool John Moores University, and they did a study which used just normal jelly, because jelly cubes have collagen in it, so it's made from bones, really. So they just use these jelly cubes, which are so much cheaper than the collagen supplements you buy, which are horrendously expensive. They use.
Is that why people went through a phase of drinking bone broth?
I think bone broth's slightly different, but that's back again. So that was something that was really popular in the early 90s, I think. I remember celebrities doing it then, and that's back. And I think there is an element, but it's going to be the amount of collagen you get in that is very little because, of course, the soup is quite dilute. These things are a little bit marginal gains, but if you like them, they're not going to do you much harm. So, you get, it all adds up. So those kind of things I'm interested in. So that's sort of the nitty gritty about whether creatine is going to be proven to have an impact on human health in the long term. And, all of these little things that they're not going to be huge, make a huge difference to our longevity, but added together, the more proof we get, the more knowledge we have.
How cautious do we all have to be trying these kind of things? If someone listening now were interested, I mean, taking the stairs more often than not is not necessarily dangerous, but some of these untested supplements or injections or IVs, I mean, might be dangerous. I mean, do you worry about that and what people might be trying?
I'd be more worried about people's bank balance, to be honest, because I think once it's on the market, it has been tested to some degree for safety. It's not tested for efficacy. So I think we've got to be clear there, so that most of the supplements that we can buy, well, all of them in this country, are going to be pretty safe, really, not taken in excess. The doses and things you need to be careful with, but it's spending money on therapies that we don't know, they haven't been proven to help. That's my concern, really, that people have been hoodwinked into having these things. And I think just beware of anything that makes outrageous claims about living longer, because it doesn't exist in a bottle. We can't get that yet. I'm not saying we won't in the future, but yeah, just be careful of that.
And are we always talking about marginal gains here? Or is it possible that we can extend our life by some kind of meaningful distance? Or is it just the case that we are human and humans live broadly this long? So even if you're doing all these fabulous things and pumping yourself with God knows what, that actually there's only just so far that you can push it?
Well, I think, first of all, that the bottom line is it comes down to your genes. If you weren't lucky enough to get good genes, then you're on a back foot to start with. And I always tell the story of my great aunt who lived to 103. Her daily routine, even when she was 100, was to walk into her local town a mile, walk back, do the crossword, which sort of kept her brain healthy, have a small glass of sherry every night, and sort of eat fatty meat and vegetables every single day. She died 20 years ago, but some of those things that she was doing, we sort of think, oh yeah, that's what we should be doing, really. But obviously she had very good genes. So I'm hoping that I have those. And if you've got good genes and you do these healthy things, then you're onto a winner. But if you haven't got good genes and you do the healthy things, you've got the marginal gains aspect there. So you're going to definitely do some good.
I had a great, great, great auntie who I knew as a child who lived to 103, 104. All she did was smash Werther's Originals and just absolutely knock them back. So who knows what the lesson is there?
Well, exactly. I had a grandma in Wales and she lived to 97. And oh my goodness, she had 7 spoons of sugar in her tea every day and drank a lot of tea. And didn't really walk much from about the age of 80, and she lived to 97 and never went to hospital. So it really does come down to your genes, a lot of it, unfortunately for many.
Just finally, Peter, because this is a time of year when people are making resolutions and are wanting to sort themselves out and get healthier. I mean, I assume you're very good at it. It pays the bills because you write about it and think about it. But what about those of us who sort of can't be asked, have maybe tried a few times? I mean, what's your tip on how to make some of these things that are good for us stick?
Yeah, I think it's making it manageable for yourself. So with exercise, I mean, people usually go gung-ho the first few weeks in January. And I would say try and do something that works for you, like have 2 days on, 1 day off, and don't try and do something every single day because you're not going to stick to it. And try to do different things. Don't think you have to go out and run a 5K on your first attempt. It really is true that every little bit that you do, in addition to what you're doing now, is going to benefit your longevity. And then I think in terms of the diet, I think little things like changing saturated fat for olive oil. Olive oil has got a huge amount of evidence behind it in terms of improving health, lowering the risk of cardiovascular disease, even some forms of cancer. And I'll definitely be increasing that next year because I've read so much evidence on that. And then we're all so poor in this country on getting out 5 a day. And really the evidence shows it should be 7 a day of fruit and vegetables. And so I think ramping up that is something that will have a huge impact on our long-term health as well. So if we can just try and get more legumes, the pulses, that counts as one of your 5 a day as well. Just fruits and vegetables, as many of them as we can get.
Fabulous. Peter, all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Peta Bee, a health and wellbeing writer for The Times and The Sunday Times. That is it from us. Today's producer was Micaela Arneson. The executive producer was Edward Drummond. Sound design was by David Crackles. And theme composition was by Maula Seto. I'm Luke Jones. See you soon.